I'm looking at your podcast, and I know that you help companies to be able to integrate more technology. And I'm wondering, when you mentioned getting the interviewees on board, it made me think of a question. I wonder if this tech person is using some sort of automation to make it easier to get those guests on the show, or how you're doing it.
That's an excellent question. Actually, I like that one, because as a podcaster, I think especially if you're new, you may not realize it, which like any business, there's a lot of tools out there for guests in particular. If you want to be an interview driven podcast, there are plenty of sites. I think actually you and I initially met on Podmatch, and that's one of, I know there's several others. There is a little bit of, I guess, buyer beware. Just make sure what you're getting into. So kick the tires on them, because some are better than others, and some will be more suited to your topics, the type of interviews you want to do, and things like that. But they are great ways to get to know other people out there that are looking to be interviewed. But then the other thing is, if you're serving a business, sometimes your customers or your maybe even your competition are going to be great to get on, and just it'd be amazing. It's amazing how often you can reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, I would like for you to be a guest on my podcast so we can talk about A, B, and C." Yeah. And they'll say, "I would love to do that."
I had a couple of friends. I still have these friends, but in the past they were starting their podcast and they were interviewing all sorts of different people. And one of the people that they never interviewed, by the way, they are real estate investors, and what they do is, it's called syndication. Basically just means that they raise a lot of money from other people and then they buy the deal. So they don't really have to use a lot of their own money. They can raise millions of dollars and then close on these deals. And I always tell them that they need to interview for them, I'm like, you are interviewing all of these people that are, and you're asking questions that don't really serve your avatar. And by avatar, I mean your perfect client. And for them, I mean, you're not really serving a passive investor that wants to place their money. You're serving active investors. You're asking the wrong questions. You're having the wrong people. And so I would tell them something that you just said, Rob. You said you can interview your clients, the people that you could work with. And I said the same thing to them. I said, why don't you interview passive investors? Why don't you reach out to somebody who invests their capital passively, find out how it's going for them, where they learned how to do it, how many deals they've gone into, how do they protect themselves? And you get two things. A, the listener is actually being served. Your avatar is now finally being served. But B, you're also having a conversation with somebody who would be a perfect client for you, somebody who could work with you. So I'm curious, Rob, do you do that? Do you interview people that you hope a fraction of them end up being clients?
It's actually a very well-timed question, because just in the last week or so, I've been thinking, because I think I'd mentioned that the recent season is interviews. And one of the things I've thought about, because I've enjoyed the interview side of it, is actually looking at doing another season of interviews, but actually focus specifically on clients, or actually it's really specifically on potential clients, is go and instead of do just a regular cold call and say, hey, here's some things that maybe I can help you out, is actually essentially try to get the equivalent of a cold call, but do it as an episode. Say, hey, I'd like you to come on, talk about your stuff, because then it's one, you get to introduce yourself to them, but it's also like, hey, this is an audience. Maybe some of these people can help you out. So it's not just, I'm not locking you in. I'm allowing you to sort of, do a little bit of marketing of your issue to see if somebody can come in and help you out as well. So I've definitely thought, I have not done that specifically, but that is something that just recently has become more and more starting to form on my radar.